Hello and welcome to the virtual village hall. My name is Claire and I'm going to be teaching you today about bath bombs, how to make them for a fraction of the cost that you can purchase them from some well-known stores in town. Some of you may know me, I do some classes at Riverside Beads and Crafts, or I may have been in your home teaching a class or birthday party. Anyway, those of you who do know me will know my classes usually take about 2 hours. So let's get started because I need to cram a lot into this short amount of time. If there are any questions, be aware I'm blind as a bat, so I won't be able to answer them as I go. But do leave a comment and I will answer it afterwards if you've got any queries. Okay. First of all, let's get some equipment started. What you will need to begin with is a bowl. Now, I use a plastic bowl, however, only use a plastic bowl if you're not going to use it for anything else but making bath bombs, because it retains the scent if you're going to use a scent. So a metal bowl is good, ceramic bowl is good. I like plastics, it's nice and lightweight, but it would just be for bath bomb making. So you need a bowl. Then our next ingredient is going to be bicarbonate of soda, which you can purchase pretty much anywhere. Cash and carry is good because you get big amounts, or online. Second ingredient is citric acid. Go big or go home. Now, with those two ingredients, the bicarbonate of soda and the citric acid, that's pretty much all you need with some water. You've got a bath bomb right there. But we're going to add some delicious extra things in. So we're going to have scents. Now, you can get all kinds of things. If you're going to go uber natural, I would recommend essential oils. You can get some really gorgeous ones: bergamot, Sicilian bergamot, Egyptian geranium, all sorts of things like that. If you're going to have a kids one, you might want to do something a bit more fun, and there's lots and lots of things available: baby powder, snow fairy, all kinds of things. These ones are about £1 from eBay, £1 each. The essential oils can range from about £3 upwards. If you're going really fancy, you can get yourself some Neal's Yard oils. This little baby, which is a rose, Otto rose, it's £80. £80 for this little bottle. I use this only for very, very good friends. But I mean, if you're wanting to do some luxury bath bombs, you can't really go wrong because it's absolutely beautiful. What you put in is what you'll get out. If you put in the most expensive ingredients, then you'll have the most luxurious bath bomb. Do next is I'm going to turn the camera down in just a second after I show you the colours. So the colours that are most effective are called mica colours. As I said, when I say most effective, I mean they're the brightest, they're the strongest. And they're dry, so when you put them in, they're easier to mix in. However, you can use things like cake colour, or I tend to use food colouring, just because I like to work with food colouring. I use a mixture of the mica colours and the food colouring. We're also going to be using some rose petals, some shea butter, which is an incredibly rich and moisturising. It's basically like a cream. You find it in quite a lot of cosmetics. Again, you can buy all of this on the internet. I am going to be producing some kits in the next few weeks, which you can purchase either from me or from Riverside Beads and Crafts. But obviously for the luxury bits and pieces, it's always best to shop online, I personally find. So colour-wise, we're all sorted, and the only other thing you'll need is a spray bottle. Good old handy water spray, pound shop. Absolutely brilliant. Okay, I'm going to tilt the camera down so you can see the bowl. Hopefully it won't fall off, as it did the last time I did this. See you on the flip side. Okay, hopefully you can see that. Now in the bowl, I have got some bicarbonate of soda. The ratio for making a bath bomb, whatever measurement you do, is 2 to 1. So it's 2 bicarb and 1 citric acid. So I'm going to put in, I'm using quarter cups, and a quarter cup will generally get you 1 globe, medium-sized globe bath bomb. So I'm going to put the citric acid in. You'll notice the citric acid is a lot grainier. So you just mix those in, and if there's any lumps, you just rub them through. Rub them through like you would if you were putting butter into a pastry. That's the best way to describe it. Now, I am not wearing gloves. You can wear gloves if you like. I would recommend wearing gloves if you've got any cuts on your hands, because the citric acid is quite stingy. But I find it easier to work without gloves. But if you are using something like a blue food dye, it might be a good idea to use gloves. My hands are usually permanently blue. But it all comes off because it's, you know, it's all stuff that you would eat. So the next thing we're going to do, once we've got that mixed up, the first one we are going to make is in a silicone mould. So there's different moulds. There's the traditional globe mould, which is the round one, which just la voila, and that comes in different sizes. I've got a little mini one here. You can use silicone moulds. These just from B&M. I've got car ones. I've got unicorns, and then they're just in trays, so they're like £3 for about 10 moulds, and I just cut them up. So they're really good. The other moulds that you can use are these plastic ones, which if you've ever looked on the internet, you might see people making them with these. I find they're a little bit trickier than the metal ones, but they work just as well. Do not leave them in to dry. You will never get them out. That's the only thing I would say. Some people say, oh, you can leave them in overnight and they're fine. They're really not. You'll lose your bath bomb. So we're going to use this mould to begin with, which is a silicone mould, and we're going to add a nice marshmallow, which is absolutely delicious. So we're just going to do 1, 2, 3 drops. They're very strong, and you can use a spoon. Some people use a whisk. Sorry guys, we seem to have lost contact there. Hopefully you still caught me when I've just put the colour in, and I've just got that beautiful, beautiful reddy pink colour. So what I'm going to do next is I'm going to activate that colour with my water sprayer. Now it's already quite wet because I've used quite a lot of food colouring, as I said. So what I'm going to do is put a few squirts in, and you can see how that colour really changes. And I'm just going to mix that round with my hand. Again, some people use a whisk, some people use a spoon. I prefer to use my hands because I can feel the consistency a bit better. Apologies for cutting off there. So all well with the world and the internet signals, hey? Right, so about that. So when you squeeze it in your hand, it's kind of like, so if you squeeze it in your hand and it stays together, then that's perfect. So we're just going to pack that into the mould and do it really tight. Now you want to do it really, really tight, and the reason for that is, especially with the silicone moulds, otherwise you might lose your lovely, delicious bath bombs. And the last thing you want is to spend all that time and energy creating these things and then for it to fall to pieces when you take it out of the mould. So you're just going to pack that completely in, nice and tight. And you'll know if it's too dry, it won't stay put, as it were. So if you tip it upside down, if that was too dry, it would just fall out. So that's just about right. I then put them upside down so you get a nice flat bottom, and here's one I prepared earlier. This is a little car, which I dropped actually, so it's a little bit broken. So that was my car mould, and that is my car, which has got a nice smooth bum. Okie dokie, so we're going to move on to the next one. Again, we're using 2 quarter cups of bicarb and 1/4 cup of citric. Mix, and just rub that in. Now this one we're not going to put a colour in. This one we're gonna go a little rogue. We're going to make a globe. So in this one we are going to add some beautiful rose scent. Which is a rose garden one. I'm not using my Otto rose, strangely enough. You are very special, you people, but not that special. No, so I'm going to put a few drops in. I mean, I'm quite generous with my scent, but that is a lot. And if you're doing this at home, you might want to open a window, because if you can be quite overpowering. I'm conscious, guys, that this video looks like it might be cutting out again, which is very frustrating for you, and I do apologise. If it does, I shall pre-record this whole class and pop it on there for you as in one go. So if it does keep cutting out, because I do apologise. Okay, so, oh my God, that smells so good. Oh, it just smells delicious. So to that, we're going to add some rose petals. So we're just I use very fine ones because I like them. I don't like the great big huge ones because I think they look weird, but it's whatever you like. So I just want to have some delicious rose petals. And this one's a lovely gift for a bride or for your mum. Can you see that? Okay. And then what we're going to do, we're going to activate it with our water spray. So 1, 2, 3. Now we haven't put as much water in this. It didn't have any colour. So it shouldn't be as wet as the last mix. So it will take more water. So you can see it starts to clump, but it's nowhere near ready. Okay. So then we're going to a few more sprays. Good old sprayer. And this one's a nice one to add shea butter to actually, but I'm saving that for last. So again, I'd say not quite ready. Can you see? It's a little bit crumbly, especially for a globe. So we can do 3 more sprays and then scrape around the bowl because you don't want to waste any of this good, delicious mixture. And that's about ready. Kind of like it when it goes wrong, because then I can show you what to take the 2 moulds and then again pack it in really tightly. So nice and tight. You almost want to overfill that. And then the same on the other side. Pack it nice and tight. And you can see that this mix literally gets you kind of 1 bath bomb. So it's quite a good one for 1/4 cup because you don't get any wastage. So then we're going to put them together and squeeze them together, rub around the edges, nice and tight. Yeah, just let them fuse, and then you want to piff puff poof, tap 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 just to loosen it off, piff puff poof. Obviously I haven't trademarked that catchphrase. And then very carefully, the moment of truth, you take that off and you can see you have a beautiful bath bomb. And there we have, absolutely beautiful. What I was actually going to do, which I've completely forgotten because I've got flustered by the Wi-Fi, I was going to put a little bit, I'll show you now, I was going to put a little bit of rose petal in here, in one side, which would mean that when you pulled it out, you'd have a lovely little rose petal top here. So, yeah. But you get the idea. Now be careful. Never lift it by the seam because it could come apart. So kind of almost just grab it like a claw and just put it down on a clean surface. I usually use parchment, baking parchment. Now this that's left in here is very dry. I'm not going to be able to do anything with that. But that is why I brought my jar, which I appear to have put somewhere safe. And what I do, if you overwork the mix and it doesn't, and you can usually reactivate it once it's just really dry, it won't hold. However, all is not lost. All you do is put it in a Ziploc bag, add some, just keep adding all the remains of all the ones that you've made that have failed, which will be none because you're going to be geniuses, and then add a bit of glitter. You pop it in a jar and it's fairy dust. Kids absolutely love it, and it still activates in the bath, so there is absolutely no waste in this kind of project. It's really, really fantastic. Okay, we're going to go in for our final delicious round. Again, we have 2 cups, 1/4 cups bicarb and 1/4 cup of citric acid. Just rub it through, get all of those lumps and bumps out. I would not recommend buying bicarb from the pound shop. I tried it once and it was too grainy. It was almost like the citric acid. It didn't hold very well. It was usable, but it was hard to work. So particularly if you're trying to use a silicone mould or a plastic mould, I really wouldn't recommend it. Okay, so last one. What we are going to do here, there is a well-known bath company who make very expensive bubble baths, and they make one that's cinnamon buns. And I discovered It's not cinnamon actually, but I discovered if you put jasmine and vanilla together, it smells just like this famous bubble bath. So I use it to make my own bubble baths. I also use it to make delicious bath bombs. So we're gonna, because it's quite decadent, what we're gonna do, we're gonna add a little gold mica powder, which I think is going to just, as I say, it's quite expensive, but I am going to be a little bit generous there. And then it's metallic, so you may want to use a spoon. It's just going to give it a sheen, which it might not be noticeable to the eye. I think I can see it, but I'm not sure you guys will be able to. But it gives it a real goldy sheen, and when it goes into the bath and it does its beautiful bubbling, it really just, it's fabulous. It really reflects the light. You can add glitter if you wanted to. Now, the next thing I'm going to put in is the shea butter. This is almost melting, so that's quite a lot to put in one bath bomb. So I'm probably just going to do kind of half that. I mean, you can put as much in as you want. There is another brand of bath bombs who put a lot of shea butter into their bath bombs. And their bath bombs are like miniature, and they charge about £5 each for them. But the reason is because they put so much shea butter in, and shea butter can be quite expensive. So we're going to put that in, and then we're just going to pop it in, and then that really does need to be worked in like a pastry. The beauty of using an oil or shea butter is that it holds the mixture together. It gives it a bit more integrity. So if you're struggling making the basic mix and getting it to stay together, then try putting a bit of oil or some shea butter in, because it will help it all kind of glue together. So we're just going to rub that through. You can see the main thing is just not to get any big lumps. So you just rub it between your hands like so. Gorgeous. And when it goes into the bath, oh, it's so beautiful. It makes, I mean, my hands feel delicious already. I mean, the only thing I would say is you're going to get a little bit of greasiness on your bath, so make sure nobody's lined up to the bathroom after you. I'm going to add a tiny bit of yellow food colouring as well, just for the hell of it. Just a tiny drip to give it a bit more of an enigmatic colour, because yellows are usually pretty pale. If you want to get a very bright yellow, then you need to use a mica colour. Again, have a look on Amazon or eBay. You can get them on there. They are just a bit more expensive than your bog standard food colouring. Okay, and so the next thing we're going to put in is the vanilla. She says, there we are, and the jasmine. And the jasmine's a very decadent oil. You know, you can make jasmine oil. I was reading about it. I was going to do it this summer with if anybody's got a jasmine, the flowers that you've got, if you put them in sweet almond oil and leave them outside, and effectively it makes the most beautiful jasmine oil. I'm going to do it next year when I'm more organised. There's just too many fabulous things to make. But I thought that would be wonderful to actually have your own almond oil as well. Okay, that is smelling divine. So I'm actually going to use the rose petals that I said I was going to do before. Which, I mean, if I was doing this with a petal, I would probably use I forget what they're called. They're almost like saffron strands, but they're not. Or, you know, it was a similar coloured petal, basically. Right, so before I do that, I need to activate it, don't I? So a few squirts of water into your mix. The bigger it will be, because the more ingredients. So we're going to have more mixture this time than we had with the last one, because we put colour in it, which makes it bigger already, because that's a wet ingredient. And then we put the shea butter, and then we've put 2 lots of flavouring, scent, you know what I mean. Another couple of sprays. If you put too much water in, and then you try and put it into a mould or a globe, it will keep growing, and you'll find that it won't work basically because you won't be able to get it out. But in that instance, I have some muffin cases on hand, and can you see that one? It was cute, it kept growing, but then you get that cute effect of having a little cupcake, and you can give that as the present, you know, to somebody. It's really nice. Okay, so we have got our mix, and that is absolutely perfect. So I'm going to pack that into the mould like so. Now with these moulds, if you want to do a Halloween one or any kind of kids one, what's really cute is if you put a toy or something inside the ball. I made this one and I left it out so it's kind of pitted so it looks like Saturn or an other planet. But you put toys in, and then say you could put a scary spider in the bath, and then when they have their bath. Do you know what? This hasn't actually made as much as it normally makes. It's made a little bit more. How unusual. Oh, it smells gorgeous. I love jasmine. So nice. So when you've got that done, squish them together and then rub off the excess. And you really want to say that so that the two sides have time to bond. Okay, and then piff puff poof, piff puff poof. I really am going to get in trouble if the Great Supremo or whatever his name's trademarked that. And then pull that off. Oh, look at that! Look at that! Wonderful. And then the other side, and there you go. You can see that I've got a bit too powdery, but you get the idea. It's really pretty. I mean, and that is, you know, that costs nothing at all. So if you did a set of those and you presented those to somebody, just gorgeous. So there's so many different versions that you can do, which I can't go into now. I'm going to put this back up so you can see me. Whether that's good or bad, I don't know. There's so many different versions. There's lots of different things that I could tell you, but I'll have to save it for another time. I was going to do a bit of packaging, but I think we're going to run out of time, unfortunately. But the easiest packaging that I can say, this is a ball that I did where I mixed the colours. So once you get really good, you can have two bowls going at the same time, and you layer the different colours. So that's another class. But this packaging, the easiest packaging, is just literally take your bath bomb and put it into, have you seen these? They're clear card bags, and just drop it into the bag, seal it, then tie your ribbons, and then just chop the top off. It's the easiest way, and you get a really professional look, you know. Or you can tape it and make it completely sealed and neat. And I mean, I like the bag because I think it's a really, really cute way of doing things. If you've got leftover mix and you don't want to put it into a dust, then these are really great miniature little ice cube trays, and they make these teensy weensy little bad boys, which are just gorgeous, and they're quite cute to go in the bottom of a bag with some other small bombs, you know, kind of that kind of size. Anyway, I think I've run out of time. I apologise for the connection issues. I'm going to be back on, but I'm going to pre-record, so, you know, don't worry, for another couple of classes with you guys. Thank you so much for having me, and I hope you've really enjoyed yourself. If you want any other information, then please just get in touch. Okay, have a great afternoon. Bye.